Good morning. Another year went by. Holy cow. Welcome to winter term 2017, which I'm sure will be best winter term yet. We'll get there. January's become a unique and special month at Brooks School, a time when we do teaching and learning differently. I'd like to take a few minutes today to remind us all of the goals and expectations of winter term, as well as to share my hopes for you in the 17 days ahead. As those of you well-versed in school lore know, winter term at Brooks began with Mr. Quirk, classics teacher, dean of students, athletic director, assistant head of school, football, basketball, baseball coach of some renowned, and dorm parent. This was not a new idea. Colleges like Colby and Middlebury and Bates have had a Jan plan or a short term for years. But adapting a winter term to our Brooks boarding school schedule proved a great opportunity, one that Mr. Quirk researched thoroughly and advocated for. We could try out some ideas our traditional calendar would not easily allow, focusing on one course, emphasizing depth over breadth in terms of subject matter, project-based outcomes, collaboration among adults and students, interdisciplinary topics, and fewer time constraints. The process of learning and assessment of students within that process, not grades, would drive us. Winter term was also appealing because it seemed consistent with our school mission to provide the most meaningful educational experience our students will have in their lives. Our initial starting point with the faculty was, if you could teach anything, what would you do? Which led to a lot of excited discussion and a host of interesting courses. Over a 3-week period, students would be asked to participate in course-related work for 6 hours a day, 6 days a week. We also asked faculty to work with a partner, include a strong academic component, provide opportunities for independent work, assess students and the course in multiple ways without a grade, and finish the course with a culminating project. My idea was to have students become familiar with Brooks' history and the school archives, and to create 5-minute documentaries on topics of their choice. The course showed off my inner nerd, combining a number of my interests, history and archival work, photography, video, computers, filmmaking. After trying a few different variations of that idea, this year I've gone back to the original plan, and I'm excited to see what my students will produce. So I wanted to show you a few photos that I've come across in doing some of my research here. And you might recognize a few people here. See if I can get this to go. So this is Phillips Brooks. Well, not down below, but up top. That's Phillips Brooks. And Phillips Brooks, as you know, is the person for whom the school is named. And Phillips Brooks was the Bishop of Massachusetts and the rector of Trinity Church in Boston. And there are 2 of these statues. So here's one, and this is Mr. McLaughlin's winter term a couple years ago. And this is at Copley Square, if you get a chance, just on the side of Trinity Church. And the second of those statues, as the seniors know, is in North Andover, in North Andover Center, and the Common. We usually have their picture taken there every year. This is a person you ought to know, and this is Mr. Ashburn. And it's not the usual photo that I show, but it's important for a couple of reasons, I think. One is Mr. Ashburn, the founding head of the school, and who was head for 10,000 years. And he has there's a couple of things about this photo that I wanted to show you. One is that he had the corncob pipe in his mouth a lot, and most of the photos with him have this corncob pipe, which actually does exist in the school archives. At least one of them does. But there's some pretty good stories about him forgetting that he had his lit pipe and putting it in his pocket and having a little accident. This is also his dog, and you can see that Mr. Packard's really stepped up the dog, head of school dog race here. Mr. Ashburn, you can see, had a lot of important jobs. I don't know if you could imagine us handing this out on opening day to everybody. Mr. Packard's name there, I don't think so. This is Mr. Evangelos, and he was a longtime science teacher, and down where the college counseling office is now was a huge bio lab, and he lived in there. He was also, as you can see, a football coach, and it's Mrs. McLaughlin's dad and Mr. McLaughlin's father-in-law. Important figure in the school history. Since we were on the theme of showing pictures of ourselves as little kids, this is me. I think about 1968. See, I was ready for Brooks School. I was in dress code. You might know him. Dashing young man. Or her. We can track hair fashion with Mrs. Hines over the years. She knows that she loves that I do this, I know. Now this is Mr. Packard here, of course, on the left, and that's Mr. Quirk facing you, the founder. Look at the stuff he was talking about back in the back of him. Some things haven't changed. I think that picture was taken last year at winter term. Mr. Hamilton, looking dashing. It's my shortstop on the left. I want to show you this. It's a short clip. This is from one of the early cameras that had a little bit of an MP3 thing on it that was kind of cool. I think this is 2005. And that's Ellie Logan who's looking at us, our three-time Olympic champion. Pretty good basketball player. And so I'll set this up by telling you that Ellie was trying to high-five with Chelsea Fioli. So Chelsea came and talked to you last year. She was our point guard. So I'm going to let this load here. Hold on a sec. Don't need any sound. Don't want to do that. Oh, I jumped ahead on Skinner. Come on now. See if this is going to work for me. Come on, Ellie. I'll try one more time here. Darn. I get to go all the way to the end. All right, sorry about that. I might go back. It's worth seeing. So Chelsea's about this tall. She runs. Ellie holds her hand up. Chelsea jumps. She gets to about her shoulder. It was a pretty good team. Mr. Skinner, in an earlier day. Okay, now, every year, the kids out at the bus have their picture taken. And so this has some folks that you know in it. Let's say, so it's Sam Grant and Andrew Konovalchek on this end, and then you have Jake Grant and Maddie Hesse holding the sign. And Nick Konovalchek in back. And Jake Bobo's there, and if you follow football, he's over at Belmont Hill doing pretty well. And then Jake Hesse next to him, and then Hannah Latham. And then Tristan. I think that was the last time that she was bigger. These are the Callahan boys. So Tucker and John in an earlier day. Ben Hines on the right. Tristan on the left. I don't think I put lipstick on him, but it kind of looks like it. So I don't think you were here for that, but you missed something special. So Mr. Packard did dress like that for a good cause, right? It was pretty funny. This is last year. So my class last year, we wanted to go to the places on campus that no one had been to or that were talked about, so we were going to go look for the tunnels. And this is actually in the sub-basement of Russell House. And that's Percy going down there. And everyone was scared to go down. You can see the girls are holding hands ahead of them. It is a little bit like, Saw 7 down there. And then I wanted to give you a little plug for the archives, which Ms. Stewart is in charge of downstairs in the library, and she's done a great job of organizing it and cleaning it up. And so it's a place that has a lot of artifacts and records from school history, and it's a pretty cool place. If you get a chance to ask her to give you a little tour, it's well worth it. So I'm going to try again on Ellie before I let that go, because I do have it. Hold on, relax. I'm not as dumb as I look. Well, maybe. All right, here we go. Here goes Ellie. That was better. All right. Thanks, Chels. So since that first year, winter term has continued to evolve. We have a third form program with luxurious accommodations in the Berkshires. We have a symposium on Friday, January 20th. All courses will be represented in a science fair type format held in the classroom building. Everyone has a chance to see what other classes have done and what they've accomplished. It's a pretty fun night, fun to share. This year, Mrs. Hines and Mr. Burbank are collaborating on occasional afternoon/evening activities that are open to all when you have a chance to do something, how to apply for a summer job or to knit or play board games or see movies, or some things to do while you're waiting around for practice or class in the afternoons or the early evening. So I want to go on a little bit of a brief tangent to explain briefly how the winter term course selection works, because I don't think I've talked about that in public, and I probably haven't been clear enough with all of you. It's important to me that all of you are in a course that you choose as an option. The higher rated, the better. It's really a bummer if I have to go back and ask you to do something else, and in the early days, that's what we had to do, and I'm glad that we don't have to do that anymore. And I'd like all of you to be in a first choice at least once. And the fairest way for me to do that is to give seniors priority. And then, all things being equal, all of you are assigned numbers within your form. So I do the third form first, since they have a smaller number of course choices. And then this year, for the third form, everyone's in their top 4. I think the Mrs. Claytor's eating class, was slightly popular, and that made it slide down to number 4 instead of number 3. Then I do the 6th form, the 5th form, and the 4th forms, and I generally, with the 6th form, I start out by just parsing them out based on what number you are. After I review the course placements one more time, I release a draft to the faculty and ask them not to share it with you. This has proven to be the toughest task of all. I do that because I make mistakes, because I know I'll have to shift some students around. If the original list gets out, I know people will be disappointed, and I'm trying to avoid some of that disappointment. But in spite of my pleas, word gets around. I have to explain why so-and-so was moved. There is no big conspiracy to that. Rather I need to adjust for varsity teams or gender balance, or sometimes there are personal reasons that are good ones. Once the rosters are set, I make a waiting list of students who ask for a change, and I'll only consider changes when I can make a swap. Someone wants out of one and someone wants in another. In the end, I'm glad when seniors get a top choice and everyone else is in a course on their list, and that's what happened this year. So I'm happy about that. So what are my hopes for you in the next 17 days? Well, first I hope that you'll engage. That's one of our school values, and I hope, I know that you'll feel better about your learning experience if you do your best to engage in the process. Doing the least amount possible is a waste of your teacher's time and your time. Take advantage of winter term and learn something new. Mr. Campbell tells me that an increasing number of students are exploring college majors related to their winter term courses, and that's really awesome. So that leads to a related hope. It's a sign of intellectual and social maturity when you learn for your own sake, for your own satisfaction, not because it makes your parents happy or shows everyone you're smart. When you go to college, you realize that there are a lot of smart people out there, lots of Mr. Hessies. You should do the best you can for you and your own satisfaction. If you're constantly comparing yourself to others, you'll often be disappointed. The ideal for winter term is that you'll learn because you want to, not because of external motivation. And I know that's idealistic, but that's what us teachers hope for. Hopefully, you'll choose a project that interests you and you work on it because you want to. Hope number 3 is to communicate. The winter schedule, I think both for class and afternoon activities, is more unpredictable than normal, and therefore it's important that you're clear about what's expected of you, when and where you need to be in certain places, and what it is that you're expected to do. It's especially important that you communicate with your dorm parents and your own parents, as day students, about those details. If you're not sure, then ask. Make new friends. One of the unintended consequences of winter term has been the relationships that develop with time-intensive classes. We talk a lot about community here, and winter term has made us even closer. It's easy to fall into your usual patterns with the usual people. Winter term breaks those patterns. Take advantage of that to make new friends you wouldn't have spent time with otherwise. One of my favorite aspects of winter term is the different faculty members working together who normally don't work together on a project. Often they're in different departments and might not otherwise hang out, that Ms. Parker and Mrs. Werner and Mr. Griffith are teaching together. It's pretty cool. Make good decisions. This is always true, whether it's winter term or not. There's downtime at boarding school, believe it or not. Use it productively. All of you will have work to do related to your courses. Get started early. It's a shorter winter term, just because of the calendar. If you do get done with your work, organize some fun, whether it's tournaments or card games or binge watching or whatever with the dorm, but bad decisions drag everybody down. And then finally, I'd like it if you could make winter term 2018 even better. I love getting suggestions about how to make winter term better. If there's a course you want to see offered or an activity that you'd like to do, love to talk to you. Often the best ideas come from you. So here we go, winter term 2017. It's a great opportunity to do teaching and learning differently. Let's have fun learning in a different environment than we're used to, at a different pace, with new teachers and new friends. Let's make this the best winter term yet. Thanks.